Guys, today's topic is a somber one. We like to joke, we like to laugh here, but every once in a while we need to be serious. I want to talk about something that is troubling a lot of people out there that nobody wants to talk about publicly. If you ask your training partner, they probably would admit that they've had some issues with it. And I'm hoping that this video can give a little bit more information and can help more people, and so they don't have to go through what I've gone through for many years. So today we're going to talk about pooping your pants. Yeah, friend. Bombing your briefs, browning your boxers, doing a wrong in your thong, staining your Hanes. We've all done it, right? It's okay. We can talk about it. Maybe the last time you pooped your pants was when you were 4 years old, or maybe it was last week. If you're a runner, maybe it's more likely to be last week, huh? It's been reported that up to half of runners have stomach problems with running. It's more likely for women to have it than guys. So I can't tell you how many times I've come back from a run with one glove or one sock. One of my favorite runs of all time was with the first time I did a nice long run with my son on his bike. He was 8. We were coming back to the house. We lived 2 houses away from the school. We're 200 yards from my house, and suddenly it's coming. The baby's coming. There's no stopping it. I diverged off behind about a 2-foot bush in front of his school. Fortunately, it's a Sunday, and bad stuff happened. I just was praying that the old ladies across the street weren't looking out their window. It was not good, guys, and I don't want this to happen to you. So let's talk about why this happens. Why do people get stomach issues, and what can you do about it? First of all, maybe you've got a pre-existing condition like irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis. Maybe you've got a lactose intolerance. Did you know that most of the world is not lactose tolerant? I did not know this until maybe 5 years ago. That if your ancestors come from, I believe it's Europe, Northern Europe, when they domesticated cows, that's when that gene mutated. And so their descendants have this lactose gene. You can drink milk and milk products, but most of the world actually cannot without having pretty bad diarrhea. So if you've got a pre-existing condition, then it just sets you at a level that normal training and other things set you off before even other people. So that is kind of like number one. Number two, now this can affect everybody. Physiologically, you can get gut problems from just running. When you exercise, it pulls blood away from the gut and goes to the muscles, which makes sense to propel you. But then the fluids and the food in the stomach kind of sit there a bit longer, and that is a recipe for disaster. If you've ever done a race and been a little nervous the day before or morning of, you may have noticed that you have a little bit more potty breaks. I have a good buddy. We did a ton of triathlons together over the years, and he had to poop 3 times or he could not race. He's up at 5. He drinks first cup of coffee. 5:05, he's in the bathroom, and just like clockwork. Second reason that you may be having some of this is mechanical. Running is an impact sport. There's a lot of bouncing, a lot of jostling, so runners have more trouble than, say, cyclists. You imagine like shaking up a can of Coke. It's just a lot of food in there. And so cyclists, though, have more stomach issues than swimmers because their posture, they're bent over and it crimps part of the stomach. And so running, worse than cycling, worse than swimming. If you have ever been in a race and tried to grab a quick drink and continue running while thanking the volunteer, not slipping on that goo, avoiding the other runners, getting it in your mouth, if you can do that, God bless you. It is a skill, guys. If you have not practiced it, be prepared for your first time. You're going to have half the sports drink down the front of your stomach, and you're going to be sticky the rest of the race, and you're going to be angry. So practice it. But when that happens, it's also very easy to get air down your throat and into your stomach, and that causes issues. Third, nutritionally. There are certain foods that are more likely to set you off. Fiber, fat, protein, caffeine, even medications like NSAIDs, ibuprofen, and aspirin. Now, you should never run with NSAIDs is what I read and what all my sports medicine physicians, many of whom are triathletes, weirdly, tell me, because those are notoriously hard on your organs. Now, go to 100-miler. Those guys are like chewing that stuff like candy. It is not a good idea, friends. It is not a good idea. Being dehydrated is more likely to set you off. And so I think back to an Ironman I did in 2011 in Canada. Did the long swim, into the bike ride, probably about mile 85, ran out of food, ran out of water, and it was in the mid 90s, I believe. And I went like 5 miles with no food or fluids and just was dying. By the time I got to the next aid station, I couldn't see straight. I mean, I could have walked up to my cousin and not recognized her, and immediately grabbed a water, couple gels. They were both double caffeine gels, and so that's 4 caffeine servings actually. So being dehydrated, having caffeine, and then it was just the beginning of when I was understanding that I had ulcerative colitis, one of those pre-existing conditions. That kind of trifecta. I actually felt great until the end of the bike ride because caffeine is one of the few legal stimulants that actually works. But shortly into the run, there was a supernova in my shorts. And friends, there's only so much cleanup you can do in a porta potty. There's no wipes in a porta potty. So, you do what you do there. I get out, I'm walking along. I finally lay on the ground waiting for an ambulance thinking, someone's going to come save me. There's no way I could finish this. None ever came. So I finally started ran in, and let's just say the chafing was indescribable. Don't go there, Raz. Don't go there. Don't go there. So let's wrap it up. What can you do to prevent this? First, if you got a pre-existing condition, see a doctor. Get that crap under control, man. I had to take some pretty serious medicine for mine for about a year, but then magically it kind of like got under control. Now I'm just on a very minimal medication, and it's nothing too serious. So get that stuff under control. 2, avoid those trigger foods, especially in the 24 hours before the race. Remember, fiber, fat, protein, caffeine, NSAIDs, aspirin. If it's hot, adjust your intensity down and be willing to adapt on the fly your nutrition plan if it is very hot. So this is a great opportunity to see a sports dietitian. Figure out what your nutrition plan is, figure out what works, through them helping figure out the experimenting, what you like, what doesn't bug your stomach, and then the quantities, and then knowing on a day when it gets maybe extra hot, what is your backup plan? If you don't have a backup plan, that's just one more variable where things can just get out of control. So guys, hope this was valuable. Let's not poop our pants till at least for a while, right? Till we're 90, when it's expected. When I'm 90, I probably won't even remember my name if I make it that long, so it'll be all right. I won't care at that point. Okay, guys, thanks again. We'll see you next time.